Over the last few weeks, we've been building something completely new at Shared Legacy Farms. It's called Farmer's Bag Toledo, and it's a new food access program designed to make fresh local food more affordable for families in an underserved neighborhood. In today's episode, I'm pulling back the curtain on the entire launch and sharing the step by step marketing strategy that took it from an idea to a sold out program in 4 days. Let's get started.
Hey there, this is Corinna Bench, and welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast. In today's market, it's not enough to just grow your product. You've got to know how to sell it too. Welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast, where we reveal online marketing strategies and tips to help farmers like you get better and more confident at marketing. Learn how to find more customers, increase your sales, and build a strong brand for your farm.
Let's start the show. Well, welcome to episode 374 of the My Digital Farmer podcast. I'm your host, Corinna Bench, one of the farmers at Shared Legacy Farms out in Elmore, Ohio. I'm also the founder of mydigitalfarmer.com, which is all about trying to help other farmers like you get more confident in your marketing and sales strategy so that you can grow a profitable business. Welcome to the show. How's everyone doing? Big shout out to all of you who tune in regularly week after week. If you're new to the podcast, I'm glad you're here, and I hope that you too become a faithful subscriber and that it's helpful for you. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. And if you are new to the marketing lingo, I encourage you to go and listen to my first 10 episodes where I kind of roll out the foundation of marketing, the principles you need to know. Otherwise, you can just look through the archives. There's a lot of good stuff that I've put in here over the last few years. You can get onto my email list too. That's another great way to learn the ropes of marketing. When you do, I'm going to send you an email every week about the podcast. I'm also going to roll out an onboarding email sequence, a welcome sequence that walks you through the most important things I think you need to know as foundational for becoming better at marketing. That lasts a few months. So it's a really good onboarding process. You can subscribe to that list by going to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe, and that'll get started for you right away. Today's podcast is sponsored by my friends at Local Line. If you run a CSA, sell direct or wholesale, or manage all three, summer is when it all happens at once. Packed markets, weekly CSA boxes, and a harvest that keeps coming. Local Line helps you handle your busiest season with less stress and more control. In 2025, farms and food hubs using Local Line grew their sales by 33%, with average order values up 31%. That's real results across operations of all sizes on the platform. Local Line brings everything together in one platform: CSA management, wholesale ordering, automated inventory, box builder, and POS. Run all your direct channels from the same place, whether that's your CSA, market sales, a farm stop, or a food hub. And through their marketplace partnerships now, you can reach chefs and buyers nationwide through Cisco, Gordon Food Service, and US Foods with a low barrier to entry. Switching is easy too. There are no setup fees, no sales commissions, and their team will migrate your storefront for free even mid-season, and it only takes a few days. As a podcast listener, you'll get one premium feature free for a full year when you use my coupon code MDF2026 at checkout. So head to mydigitalfarmer.com/local line, all one word, and then enter that coupon code MDF2026 at checkout. Make the most of peak season with Local Line. It's streamlined, it's efficient, and it's built for growth. And now back to the show. All right, well, welcome back. Happy August, everyone. It's almost time to go back to school. My youngest son is going to be a sophomore this year, and he's actually excited about going back to school. I think not having his brother here has been tough. he's had to figure out projects to do on his own. Usually his brother was always the one that would come up with ideas and then they would go work on them together. So this has been a transition year for him, for sure. We will be heading off to San Antonio the last week of August to watch Jed graduate from boot camp. I'm really excited about that. And I have a feeling that I'm probably going to take that week off from the podcast. So if there isn't a show that week, you'll know why. Sometimes I can actually record 2 in 1 week, depending on how things land. But if that doesn't happen, just know that that's the reason, and I'll be back in your earbuds the following week in early September. Today, we're talking about the anatomy of a recent promotion that we ran here at the farm that I'm really proud of, that I'm really excited about. And I thought it would be helpful and valuable to many of you listening to not only hear what the promotion was, in case it sparks interest and helps you see a possibility for your own business, but I also wanted to show you another example of how I launch a brand new product, but also how I come up with the product in the first place. In this case, it was a collaborative project, which made it even more fun. And normally I'm just kind of sitting in a dark room putting something together on my own, but this was something that I was working on with another organization and with a couple of other key people in the room. And that adds another level to it. And I think it actually ended up making it better, making the promotion run a whole lot stronger because I wasn't operating in such a silo. So today's podcast is going to be me walking you through the process of how this whole promotion came together, how this offer came together, and how it launched, how it did, and what happens next. And some of the marketing insights that I noticed along the way, some of them were lessons I've already learned, but some of them were new insights that have frankly challenged me to really think about what I can do in the future to become better at marketing and make it a little bit easier on myself. So, how do I start? Where do I start? I've got 4 pages of notes that I scribbled down this morning as I was having my breakfast. And I feel like I at least initially need to tell you what it is, and then I'm going to go into more detail as I spell it all out and walk through the process. But we created a 14-week food produce bag membership for the community of inner city Toledo. And this is basically going to be a market style type of CSA, although we never used the word CSA. But we were looking for a way to help bring our food to communities who have trouble accessing healthy food and who maybe can't afford it. And so we wanted to make our food affordable as well. Those were some of the goals. And so this is a subscription. People who bought into it are paying week to week, but they are making a subscription commitment for 14 weeks. We're starting it in August. So August 7th will be our first day. It will be every Friday until November 6th. And we're bringing the food into the Toledo community to one of our partners, our collaborators, to their location, setting it all out on tables. And people who have subscribed, are they going to come down the line, market style? They'll get to pick out 5 items from the vegetables, the produce, vegetables and fruits that we bring. They get to decide, and we then provide them with some recipes and support there when they are at pickup in terms of how to use the product. So we're hoping that the actual fulfillment goes well. The promotion happened. It went really fast. We sold out in 4 days. And now I'm at the point, we haven't actually started it. When you hear this podcast, it will have started, but I'm recording this about a week before we actually implement for the first time. But it's been an amazing experience putting this all together. And so kind of that's sort of in a nutshell. I wanted to explain what the product was, and I'm not going to name it yet for you. I'm going to share the name in a minute. Um, but the first thing that I wrote down here on my notes was that it all started with a serendipitous moment in the fall when an opportunity appeared. You all remember the SNAP benefits being put on hold there for a while, and that created a problem in our communities. And like I always say, problems are opportunities. And we jumped on that opportunity. We really felt a heart for the people in Toledo that were not able to get food, not just Toledo, like Metro Toledo area too. And so we had food in the field. We just didn't have people to actually pick it because they had gone home back to Mexico. And so we had a partner uh, inside of Toledo at Urban Holistics. Her name is Sonia. And she's got relationships. She's got a network of people. She's already got a community, uh, a business there called Sonia Organics and also Urban Holistics that is deeply entrenched in the community. They're building a community garden. They've got kids coming to learn how to eat food. She's just really loved. Okay, so we have had a partnership with her. We've been helping her develop her urban farm for a while. And so we heard about this need from her. Well, we heard about it obviously on the on the media too, but she was telling us, "Hey, there are people in my community that need food. How can we work together?" So we had this partnership and this trust relationship already in place, established. And I guess I just wanted to point that out. We had done the work of just building a relationship with key partners in the years prior. And then when an opportunity surfaced, we were able to leverage it more fully, I think, because we already had that network established. So in that moment, back in the fall when this happened, we quickly threw together a bunch of volunteers to come out and harvest the produce. People from Sonia's community actually came out and helped do it too. And of course, we put it on social media. We got into the newspaper about it because it was really cool. There was all this energy and it just got thrown together. I think I did a podcast episode on it actually. There was a lot of energy, a lot of goodwill. Our customers thought it was just really cool that we were doing this. Many of them helped participate. And when it was all over, and we ended up bringing those food items, those vegetables, to the YMCA, to Urban Holistics with Sonia and her community, and they just put bags together of food, and people just came and took bags for free, like it was just a pure gift. And it helped bring hope. It helped bring food when people needed it, and established a lot of goodwill, right? So as this was happening, we saw a potential for a future story. We're like, how could we do this again? How can we scale this? How can we make this keep happening? Why does this have to stop? Just because we've met the original need of the SNAP benefits being discontinued and we step in. We named that moment Snap It Forward. That was the name of that initiative. We had several Snap It Forward moments. But that was sort of the origin story of what we ended up creating for this coming summer because we saw a need. And Sonia just kept coming back to us and saying, there's got to be a way for us to be able to keep doing this. Do you see how easy this was? We just threw this together and brought an enormous amount of food into my community. And you can see how many people showed up and wanted this product. We could do this on a bigger scale. And what would it look like to continue that? So that was sort of the first principle that great products often come out of a problem or a true need that reveals itself. And sometimes we see those needs and we just don't have the energy or the interest to follow that rabbit trail, right? But for whatever reason, we felt passion for it. We felt a calling and we were willing to give the energy required to move that baton forward and just see where it went. And I'm really glad that we did. But it definitely surfaced out of a spontaneous serendipitous moment and we noticed it and we took action on it. So I want you to just be thinking about that for you. Look around, scan your horizon line right now, and where do you see something like this surfacing? Is there a little yellow flag saying, look over here? Maybe I should say green flag, not yellow flag, green flag waving in the wind saying, there's an opportunity here. It looks like a problem, but it could actually be solved uh, by something maybe that you could offer. And what if it creates something you can't even imagine? Okay. The second thing that I wrote down here was a strategic partnership with Urban Holistic. This wouldn't have happened if it had just been our farm trying to go into Toledo, into a community that we have no relationship with, where we are not already established, and just try to promote this product to a bunch of people and they don't even know who we are. I think the reason why this ultimately worked is because A, we have been coming into Urban Holistics for several years. We have helped them build the greenhouses, build the cooler, train some of the farmers, um, just really established this feeling of, hey, we're with you. We are here to support you and walk alongside you and learn from you and get to know you. It was built on relationship and past trust. Because we have done this work and showed up consistently, Sonia trusts us and she's the main leader. So when we met, we have been talking about this idea all winter long, but it was sort of just an idea, and there wasn't a lot of forward motion on it. There was work on the funding aspect. So Sonia was beginning to talk with people about, hey, if we wanted to do this, how would we fund this? And Kurt, over on his side, working with his partners, um, yeah, with Wayward Seed Farm and then our cooperative that we're a part of, we're trying to figure out how can we help fund it too. So we sort of established a foundation on our side. So that was sort of happening, I guess, in the wintertime. But we didn't have some of the key elements in place yet to actually take action and start making it happen until I love how it just came together in the last second. July 10th, we met as a brainstorming team. Kurt was like, Corinna, we're meeting with Sonia and with her accountant, um, and Dee and my mom, who's basically Sonia's boss. We're going to meet and just try to figure out how to make this happen because we want to do it. Like we've got funding and we just want to try to put it together. And I was like, okay. So I went to this meeting and it was a formal meeting where we like hashed out, well, if we wanted to do this, what would it look like? When would it start? Who are we serving? What day? How does it actually work? Why are we doing it? Right? We got kind of more clear. And I'll talk about that section in just a minute. But there was an actual formal meeting. The funny thing is, though, it didn't happen until July 10th. And we were going to roll out, as you will find out in a moment, we were going to roll out this program. Like we were going to show up to hand the bags to people on August 7th. So do the math. That's not a lot of time to actually build an entire promotion concept, put the marketing materials together, get it out into the world, sell it, and then actually get it to the pickup site. That's not a lot of time. So I wouldn't recommend doing it that fast. However, that created a container of time that forced me to take action quickly. And I guess that's what I want to point out. Sometimes when we create pressure on purpose, it's what is required to force us to actually finally do the thing. Now, I recently did a podcast episode on dread, and I talked about how this project was something I dreaded. I went through a phase of like, oh my gosh, this feels heavy. I've just been given this big thing to work on, and I only have 3 days to pull all the things together and in the middle of all the other things that I normally do. And that was crazy, but I was able to do it because I had these deadlines and I was committed to doing it. Okay, the third point that I wanted to bring up that is that we used a beta test mindset. And I've talked about beta tests before. This is a really, really helpful tool. Anytime you're starting a new promotion or you're launching a new product or just coming up with a new idea, there's that resistance of, oh, this isn't going to work. What if this fails? And the minute you say that, you gotta use the beta test strategy to switch your mindset. Because beta test suddenly says, you know, what if we look at it as a pilot project? This is just going to be playing in the sandbox. We're going to test it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that took a lot of the pressure off of me as we're sitting in that visioneering meeting, that formal meeting on July 10th, and we're just talking it all out. And there was a little bit of anxiety in the room, like, oh my gosh, this feels like a lot. And I remember saying, hey, what if we just we want to do this. Let's figure out a way to do this. How can we keep it simple? How can we just keep telling ourselves this is beta test, beta test. Let's just make the container small. What if we just try to sell 50? But really, we just want to sell 25, but we'll say 50, but we really only need 25 for the first year to make it worth our time. How can we make it feel easy? Well, what if we make the price so low that it's just an irresistible offer because we know we have the funding, and the first year we're gonna make it be super, super, super affordable. What if we only make it 14 weeks long, and we're going to start it in the season, the part of the season when we know we're going to have a ton of product and we don't have to worry about what if we don't have enough product, and that's not even on the table, right? So we were just trying to remove any obstacle that would come up. I remember one of the big obstacles was what platform are we going to use? We don't have an app. The app that we were researching all winter, it wasn't working out because Sonia didn't have her SNAP benefits number yet. And that was a key piece that needed to be in place in order to use the app. And I was like, forget it. We're going to use Local Line. We're just going to sign up for a subscriptions package, and we're going to get another price list. And I don't even know how the numbers are going to work with that. I thought it was going to be affordable to add that in, and it ended up being very affordable. But even in the moment, I was like, even if it's not, even if it's a little pricey, we've got the funding. Let us just use the funding this first year as a beta test and see if that works. Let's just not let technology be an issue. We're going to do it in the easiest way possible, right? So we really took the beta test mindset and said, how can we remove the pressure? How can we make it easy? How can we beta this? Okay. So I've talked about this before, but again, when you are trying to launch a new product, try it for 2 weeks, try it for 4 weeks, shrink the container, try it on this small subset of people. Do whatever you have to do to make it feel light and easy and take the pressure off. Okay, number 4, there were a whole bunch of logistics that we just had to make a decision on. Anytime you're creating something new, there's sort of like this, well, what if we do it this way? Or we could do it this way, but we could also do it this way. And there's so many decisions to make. And ultimately, when you're launching a new product, you just have to choose a lane. And what if there isn't one best right way to your perfect future story? Okay. That's sort of, I guess, the point I want to make here, that I really challenged our group as we were talking this out. Let's not get stuck in the weeds about the exact time it has to be on Friday that we're going to pick up. Let's just pick a time. 4:30 to 6:30, done. Move on. Okay. So we made some decisions about when we were going to do it, how many weeks long it was going to be. So we decided Fridays, because honestly, that's when it fit best for us as a farm. We didn't have another pickup on that day. So we said, let's do it on Fridays. 4:30 to 6:30. We wanted it to be in that window when people get off work. But it couldn't be too long. It kind of needed to be able to fit our life too as a farmer. And we thought about, when does it get dark in the fall, right? So we thought about all that kind of stuff. The 14 weeks starting in August through October, because we knew we would have a lot of product. What did we want it to be? Market style? Did we want it to be where we decide what goes in the box? We ultimately decided, no, we're going to make it market style. We wanted to give them a lot of options, and they're going to choose 5 items. We hashed this out for like a half hour. How many items? And finally, we're just like, make a decision. It's going to be 5 items. We had to decide, what's the value of the bag going to be, and how much do you think a person would use and would be willing to pay, right? What's the value? And that also kind of informed how many items we would put into the bag. Where would the pickup be? We ultimately decided we wanted to be in the community where Sonia is, where she already has established a pattern where people are coming already. So we're having it be at Urban Holistics. And then why? The why was really important. We got really clear about, this needs to be all about food access, making our really good food accessible to everyone, and making it affordable. That's part of the accessibility piece. We as a farmer wanted to be paid what the food was worth. And so that was part of this brainchild in the wintertime when we talked with the foundation. But we decided that we wanted our customers to have a little bit of buy-in. because we felt like that was important for the success of the program and the sustainability, frankly, too. But I think that customers are more likely to feel that dignity. If they're also putting a little bit of skin into the game, they're maybe also going to be more likely to try to use the food up and not just let it spoil and let it go to waste. And so we said, well, what if we ask them to pay for half of what it's worth? And so that's kind of what we ultimately landed on, that we had two different prices. We had the full price of $25 per week, and then we had the community supported price of $14 a week for the bag, and that they would get to choose one or the other. Now, I know that there are market style things out there, and there are CSA programs that do a sliding scale. We actually really wanted to do that, where people would let us know what their income was, and then they would, the software would be able to tell them what they could afford. But because we couldn't get that app thing in place, we just didn't have that option this year, and we had to just make a decision. Okay, how do we make this easy? We need to just get this shipped, right? We need to get this working. And so we're going to use Local Line, and there's no sliding scale option in there. So we're just going to decide there's two prices: community supported price. There's the basically 50% off price. Are there going to be people who won't be served because of that? Yes, probably. But this is beta test year. And so beta test year, this is how it's going to look. We had to just make a decision. And hopefully by next year, we'll have a solution to be able to offer a sliding scale and be able to serve everyone. But we felt like this was a good kind of compromise. So I'm just talking this out with you. Like, this is all part of, like, is this the original perfect version? No, we'd love to be able to just give it away for free, even, to people who can't afford a thing. But that just isn't possible logistically to work that all out. It was creating a huge obstacle for us. So we removed that, and we found a way to make it simple. Okay. We decided to sell 50. That was our max for a beta test. And we would be comfortable if we only landed at 25. So we sort of had a minimum number that we needed to hit and a maximum number. So all of this was decided in this meeting. Like, we hashed this out over the course of about an hour. And there we were. We're at the end of the meeting, and we're like, okay, we got to sell it now. And then all eyes turned to me, and I realized, oh, I'm going to be the one that has to put this all together, the marketing assets. And I talked about that a few episodes ago in the Dread episode, where there was sort of that moment where I realized, oh, there isn't anyone on the team that's going to help me do this. And but once I got over the hump of just embracing it and saying, okay, I'm taking ownership of this, we're going to do this, and I'm going to figure out a way to try to make this feel easy, it all came together in a matter of a couple days. Okay, so there is a logistics element where you just have to figure out, what is it all going to look like? What is the initial beta test offer going to look like? Notice also the offer, like, how do we make it irresistible? How are we going to package this up so that it's clear to the customer and that it just looks like a really amazing deal? So that was all part of that discussion too, that I emphasized to everyone in the room, that we need to make the pricing look amazing. We have to create scarcity by limiting it to 50. We're going to open the doors on July 20th at 8 a.m. It's only going to be available at this price for, I want to say it was 10 or 12 days, and then it's going to go away. And it's going to start on August 7th. So we used all of those regular tools that I use in other kinds of promotions in this promotion as well. Today's podcast is sponsored by Farm Marketing School, my monthly membership for farmers. Before we dive back into the episode, I want to speak to a very specific kind of farmer for a second. If you're a year or two into your business and things are working, but your marketing still feels kind of scattered, like you're posting, you're sending some emails, you're running promotions, but it all feels disconnected and you're not sure what's actually driving sales, I just want to say that's not a lack of effort. That's just a lack of structure. Because most farmers don't need more ideas. What they need is a system that connects everything together. And that's exactly why I built Farm Marketing School. Inside, I teach you how to actually design your marketing so that it works like a machine, a system, not a bunch of random tactics. We map out your full customer journey. We build your email engine. We create intentional promotions and product pathways. So your marketing starts handing off from one piece to the next like a relay race instead of you running every leg yourself. And we do it through 30-day project builds. So you're not just learning about marketing, you're actually finishing things. You're actually building the marketing assets in your marketing machine, your sales funnel, your promotions, your lead magnet, your weekly email rhythm, all your marketing assets. And that's when the shift happens. Marketing starts to feel lighter. The flywheel starts to spin. Sales start to feel more predictable. And you finally feel like, okay, I'm on the right track. I know what I'm doing. If that's what you've been longing for and what you've been missing, then I want to invite you to join Farm Marketing School just for a month. Come inside and see what it's all about. You can learn more at mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS. And now back to the show. All right, let's talk about the promotion planning process. It was now time for me to take all that information from that brainstorming meeting with my teammates and build an offer, come up with a name for the product, and basically put all of that into Word form so that I could share it with my team, put a timeline together of the launch, and say, here's my recommended marketing and messaging and timeline. This whole process took me only 5 hours. And I think the reason it went so fast is because I used ChatGPT. I was able to sit down and just talk it out. All the stuff we had talked about in the meeting. I said, here's the stuff that we want to do. I need you to help me come up with a fun name. I need you to help me figure out a very quick, simple how it works. Step 1, step 2, step 3, almost like an infographic. So when I'm explaining it and selling it to someone, uh, it's very clear how the program works. And then I need you to help me come up with an irresistible offer. Like, how can I pitch this? What do I need to do to make this feel irresistible? And in all of that, we came up with a name. The name was the Farmer's Bag. Actually, the Farmer's Bag dash Toledo. I love this name. I first started out with a bunch of fancy pants names. I was trying to make it cute and clever. And what I realized is that uh, they weren't clear and they weren't catchy. And as I was trying to find the name and I would talk it out with some people, I noticed that I would come up with the name idea and then I would have almost like a sub tagline where I'm trying to explain to that person what I mean by the first name. And I kept using the phrase, well, it's basically a bag of vegetables grown by a farmer. That's when I noticed, well, why don't I just call it what it is? It's a farmer's bag. And that very clearly, I think, gives someone an idea of, oh, this is probably going to be a bag of produce. And then I wanted the word Toledo to be in there for SEO purposes. But I also thought down the road, if this scales, we could have the farmer's bag Cleveland, the farmer's bag Columbus. That got me all excited. I've also took some inspiration from another brand you may have heard of called The Farmer's Dog, which is a dog food company that a lot of people know of. And so I just thought, well, maybe that will help me. We're calling it the Farmer's Bag to just help pitch this. I was trying to imagine if I actually got onto a media source like radio or TV, I wanted to be able to call it something that would immediately click, just like Snap It Forward had been a great play on words with the SNAP benefits disappearing and this idea of pay it forward. That was a great name that helped someone in a minute understand, or in a second understand what it is we were trying to do. The Farmer's Bag, I think, has the same potential. So I was really proud of that name. I liked how it turned out. And then the other things we were working on in ChatGPT was how does this work? What is the offer in a nutshell? And Chat really helped me come up with some cool phrasing. So we came up with things like farmer surprise. So each week the customer would be able to pick 5 items from a spread of 10 items, but they would also get a bonus 6th item that we're calling farmer surprise. And this is something that Farmer Kurt and I get to choose for them. and it'll be maybe a fringe item that they might not choose themselves. Helped me also come up with this concept of the farmer's kitchen because we wanted to have a station at pickup where there would be a volunteer there to pass out recipes or give tips on how to use some of the produce. And so we're calling that station Farmer's Kitchen, and we'll direct people to why don't you go to the Farmer's Kitchen station. We had the concept of the founding member for this launch, that we were trying to collect founding members to get our first 50 founding members, and that if you signed up as a founding member, you would get a founding members early sign up bonus. So that was something that was brainstormed as well. And after we and then we had Farmers Friday, which was another thing ChatGPT came up with, that the day that they actually pick up will be called Farmers Friday. So all of these alliteration words I thought helped kind of bring the messaging together too. I was kind of excited about that. These are things that I wouldn't have thought of on my own. And so I was grateful for AI to show the possibility. And then I got excited. It got me more inspired to keep working on it. So eventually we kind of slotted all of this stuff into a Google Doc. I had a section that spelled out the how it works. I had a section that actually had the product description. We had a whole section on FAQs that we brainstormed because I wanted the FAQs to go into the website sales page. And ultimately, and then the pricing, how do we word the pricing so it's clear that there's a full price and that there's a community supported price. I didn't want to call it a discount, so we called it a community supported price. Ultimately, we ended up putting a whole bunch of copy together that I then had to go build on a website. ChatGPT even gave me some suggestions for how to format the website so that it would look a certain way. It gave me a wireframe. If you want to see what that website looks like, you can go to sharedlegacyfarms.com/farmersbag, all one word, and just see the basic messaging that we ended up putting together. Okay, so that was Promo Doc. It was done. I also had to put the launch timeline in there. Want to make sure that I mention that as well, because I needed my team to see, hey, these are the deadlines that we need to meet. And so that created a lot of urgency on everyone's part to make sure they were getting their jobs done. And I was kind of point guarding and saying, Dee, you're in charge of this. Start working on signage. Sonia, you need to line up a radio interview, etc. And so the launch timeline had things like, sales page is up and ready by July 13th. Sonia, you have lined up some radio and TV interviews, and you've reached out to the Toledo Blade newspaper by the Friday before we open to try and drum up some interest. I'm going to hit my email list hard on this day. You're going to start talking about it on your social media channels and teasing it starting on Wednesday, right? We just had all these elements that were in position on the timeline. Make sure we're ordering the insulated bags. Let's start getting the signage ordered, etc. Okay, so that was all part of the promotion document as well. The next step was my tech setup, and this is always tricky whenever you're promoting a new product. You're trying to figure out, are there any special tech things that need to happen? I'm not going to go into the weeds here. Just going to tell you that we ultimately decided to use Localine because that's the platform we already use, and I was trying to keep it simple. I had three to 4 days to pull this all together, and this was not the time to try and go and find a new app that I had to learn and troubleshoot. So I just contacted Localine and said, I want to add a subscription. I'm going to add a new price list so that this product is only on that price list. And that was done in 10 minutes. So it was amazing. Then we had to create a Zap. So I've talked about Zapier before. It's a tool, an app that connects other apps together. And as luck would have it, it does connect Localine with all kinds of other apps that exist on the internet. So I have some experience using Zap with Localine. So I created a Google Sheet where all the orders that were purchased for this product would then get mapped onto. And then I had to go into Zapier and connect Localine with this Google Sheet and say, okay, when somebody buys this specific product, you're going to send that data to the Google Sheet. And that way I could in real time see the orders that were coming in, and I could collect the data that I needed to collect. We also had to set up some automations inside of my email service provider so that when someone purchased something in Local Line, they would get added to my email, and a tag would get added that said purchased the Farmer's Bag Toledo, so that we could then email people from Kit and send them a welcome email sequence. We had to kind of test this whole automation process. So that was all like stuff that took me a couple of hours, but there is a tech setup process. Okay, I have a couple more things here to share with you. The amplifier phase. So stuff was ready by July 18th. We had the sales page was ready to go. Local Line was ready and tested. All the tech stack was ready and operating. My promotion doc was ready. Everyone was doing what they were supposed to be doing to get things online for August 7th delivery. I knew that sales were opening on July 20th, so I told my team we got to have stuff ready by July 18th. So when Sonia reaches out to newspapers and radio stations, there's something they can go and look at, and it's there. So just keep that in mind, that if you're using media partners, you need to have something that they can go and review so they can feel ready for their interviews. Amplifier phase is kind of the next point I want to make. This is when the promotion began. Sonia was able to get us an article written in the Toledo Blade, which is our main newspaper, the weekend before the launch opened. So I timed it so that we would open the cart on Monday morning, so that we would have the weekend before to get in the paper. I was hoping we would get into the newspaper, and we did. She put out a press release, and because she is well networked in the community, I leveraged her gift of amplification and her ability to know a lot of people to amplify my message. So I did the job of building the messaging, doing the sales page, getting all the stuff ready, and then I used my team. I had an amplifier on my team, Sonia, and I said, do your magic. And she could take what I had and blast it to all her people. So we got into the Blade on the weekend for the Sunday story, which was really awesome. That built some credentials and social proof. So then when she reached out to her partner, Fred Lefevre, for the morning show on iHeartRadio, we were able to get on the morning show. Kurt and I showed up at the radio station early in the morning, live. And so he was able to ask us questions. There was already an article about us the day before, so there was momentum from that. He could point to that. And he also, as he was interviewing us, had a piece of paper in front of him. It's a PDF that was basically a flyer that I had made with the help of ChatGPT as part of that promo doc. I wanted to have an infographic that kind of explained in a nutshell what this all was. He had that in front of him. And he was using that to help guide the interview. And I was so grateful in that moment that I had made that piece of marketing, because I realized, that is helpful for these interviewers, because it helps them know before they even meet me what this is in a nutshell. They're going to be able to prepare their questions. They're going to be able to see in their mind where they can take the story. It was almost functioning like a set of, like an outline question, right? Of questions. And then Sonia also let 13 ABC Action News know about it. By the time the radio station had aired us, that led to a bunch of sales, because that was the day that the cart opened at 8 a.m. that morning. So he was able to say it's now open. And then by Wednesday, we were getting interviewed for the TV news station, and that aired on Thursday. And I was able to tell the reporter, well, we're about half sold out. So she can now say that to her community. And by Thursday, the next day when it aired, we sold out the rest of them on that fourth day. So I'm sharing this because I really feel like being able to get on these major media outlets is actually what sold them. I don't think it would have worked if I had just done it on my social media channels and sent out my email. I did do an email blast. I think I got 3 sales out of that. But it was these big media partners and Sonia's amplification gift that got my promo doc, my message that I had built with the team out. This was the big kind of aha moment for me where I realized this is what I'm not super good at. And I'm just going to be really honest with all of you. Like, um, I really operate a lot of my marketing for my business out here in a silo. And it really challenged me to think about how much more I could be doing, how many more people I could be reaching if I had a commitment to working with partners and establishing relationships. And so that is something that I'm really giving a lot of thought to and more strategy to, because man, there was so much energy that came out of this amplification phase. When you start to see the sales rolling in, it took away all that dread and that fear of failing. um, by day one, I was like, oh, this is going to work. Like I had total confidence we were going to sell out because I could begin to see the snowball rolling down the hill. Incidentally, I'm going to share a link to that PDF of the flyer that explains the farmer's bag Toledo, the one that I gave to the media partners. Um, I want to make a couple of points here. Number one, use it if you want it to help design your own kind of promotion. But that entire graphic was made by ChatGPT in like 5 minutes. I did not have to design that in Canva. I literally just said, using this stuff from the promotion doc that we worked on, ChatGPT, I'd like you to create me a one-page flyer that explains to a person I'm trying to pitch this to what Farmer's Bag Toledo is. And that was pretty much its first draft. I had to go in and change the wording and the address in a few places, but the entire flyer was just poof right in front of me. And I didn't realize that AI could do that. I was kind of expecting to have to take the messaging we had worked on and go and build a pretty looking flyer inside of Canva. When it showed that to me, I just thought, well, shoot, I'm going to download this as a PNG file or turn it into a PDF, and this will be our flyer. I don't have to rebuild this in Canva myself. So just know that that is now something that ChatGPT can do for you. And um, if you've been wanting to make a flyer for a product or a label for a product or a trifold for your CSA, you could probably go into ChatGPT and ask it to do it if you do the work of giving it all that background information. I think one of the reasons that was done so well for me was because we had spent 4 hours together, ChatGPT and I, building this promotion document together. And so it really understood what this product was. Okay, so that's kind of the end of the whole promotion process. By July 24th, we were sold out, and we were able to proclaim that to our community. Our CSA, not just our CSA, all our customers, they were so excited about this. There was like a pride in our customer community that our brand was a part of this. To see their farmer on TV, on the radio station, in the Blade, a blog post written about it. Like they're just like, wow, this is so cool that we're a part of a farm that is doing justice in our community. I don't want you to downplay the power of that kind of momentum and energy. The brand energy that's exploded from this initiative is incredible. I've grown my email list like crazy. That was sort of a side effect in the last 5 days. Our sales in our online store, I have had so many new customers, and I'm not sure if that's just because we've had media exposure, so people got onto our list, or what's going on. But this has sparked so many other areas in our marketing. I've gotten a lot of phone calls out of the blue from people wanting to know more. We had to create a wait list because we sold out so quickly that I haven't even checked before this podcast. But as of a few days ago, there were like 25 people on the wait list after the first day that I created the wait list. So yeah, it's proven the concept, right? The beta test has done its job. It's proven the concept. People want this product. And now our eyes move towards fulfillment. We haven't actually launched the first bag yet. That will be August 7th. You guys will hear this podcast and we will have started by then. But We're going to be meeting to do a dry run of the site to set up the tents and just so that everyone's clear what it's supposed to look like. Our volunteers are getting trained by Dee. We've ordered the bags. We've got the signage in process getting printed so people can find the place and know where to park. We have the welcome email sent out to the customer. I created a welcome PDF packet, a 2-pager that we have printed out on nice paper. They're going to get it with their first bag. We're going to give them a bonus gift on that first week. And we're going to be present the first few weeks, Kurt and I, to actually say hello and connect with them. We won't be able to do that every week of the 14 weeks, but yeah, so we're just now going to make sure that the first few weeks run smoothly and that we troubleshoot whatever comes up. Now, before I wrap this up today, I just want to acknowledge that there were all these feelings that came along with this whole process, from dread of, oh no, I actually have to make this happen now, and this is going to be really hard, and it's going to take a lot of time. There was the fear of, what if nobody buys this and it flops and we look like silly, or what if we didn't get the offer right in some way and that's why nobody buys? And then there was the wave. There was just this surge of interest. There was this excitement. You could feel it. Then all these people wanting to get us on TV and the press, and the excitement from our community as they watched it, right? And it changed our posture. It changed our posture as we sold. Suddenly, I showed up with more confidence. I wasn't worried. I kind of stopped thinking about it throughout the day and just trusted that the system was going to bring us the sales in time. And through it all, there was this surrender. I have always felt, especially since the original Snap It Forward program, the origin story of this whole promotion, I have always felt, Kurt and I have always felt a calling to do this, that God was saying, this is something I will bless. Just go and do it. Just try it. And when it kind of fell into my lap to actually start doing the work, I did feel that heaviness. I felt that resistance of like, oh, okay, now I have to actually follow through and do the thing that is required of me to make it happen. But through it all, I felt this confidence and this surrender of like, I'm supposed to do this, and I now need to show up and do my part. And that speaks to the commitment element. I was committed to giving this my best. There comes a point when you're building a new product and you're launching something for the first time. Are you all in or not? And I had to make a decision about, yes, I'm gonna fully buy in, because at first I was sort of like on the team, but not really on the team. Kurt was talking about this project, and I'm like, yeah, it's great, go for it. But I didn't really want to go all in because I kind of think I knew in the back of my mind that I was going to have to be the point guard initially. But when it finally came to it, and I said, okay, I will embrace the role of being point guard in this initial phase 1. I will build my part. And then when Dee and my administrator came into the picture and I saw that there was someone I could pass this on to, that sort of is when I got hope, and I was like, this is all coming together. Like, God's providing. And suddenly it just came together. And there was that commitment moment of like, yep, I'm all in. I'm going to do my part. And we all sort of did our part well. And I think that's partly why this came together. I don't know if that's always the case in launching a product, but maybe you can think about moments where you've half-heartedly done something, and one of the reasons it flopped was because almost like self-sabotage, right? Like you weren't fully devoted to it, or you just didn't show up and sell the heck out of it like you believed in it. That didn't happen this time for us because we were bought in. We were willing to do whatever it took. We were going to do it for 20 people, and we were pretty confident we could get 20 people. That beta test spirit also really helped, I think, too. So I don't know. Will this scale? I hope so. We're just going to test it out this first year. We're going to get feedback. We're going to probably have to change a few things. and how we fulfill on the offer. But I foresee this being something that could go to other cities: Farmers Bag Columbus, Farmers Bag Cleveland, Farmers Bag Dayton, and maybe I should trademark it. I probably should. Hopefully next year we'll be able to add in a layer of SNAP benefits. That's kind of our mission. But like I said, sometimes when you get something off the ground, you just got to get started and follow the energy. There was a problem that needed to be solved. There was a need that we could fulfill. I utilized the skills and the talents of the people on my team. God sort of provided things as we went. He dropped Dee, the ad administrator, into my lap, and that was sort of like the final clinch moment for me, where I'm like, all right, all obstacles have been removed. We can totally do this. And then I was committed, and I was like, let's make this happen. Our team came together, and it was a collaborative project. We would not have succeeded without Sonia. We would not have had the same amount of sales. And so I just want to really give props to all the people who helped put this together. I want to give props to the foundations who decided to come alongside us and trust us and partner with us and say, yeah, we're willing to give you funding. And I wanted to honor that, right? Honor that commitment. I wanted to show up and do our part well and steward those resources well. All right. Well, I hope this was helpful for you. I'm going to wrap up. If you would like to see the sales page for the Farmers Bag Toledo, I'll put the link for that in the show notes. I'll also put the link for the PDF guide that it's basically the flyer of the Farmers Bag Toledo in case you want to see how it worked. The show notes can be found at mydigitalfarmer.com/374. If you like today's episode or you want to share it with someone, please go to wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple Music or Spotify. Share the link. This is a great way to help me promote the podcast and help other farmers find out about it. If you want to get onto my email list, I have some really great marketing tools to send your way to help you improve your marketing. You can go to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. I also have, of course, Farm Marketing School if you want to join my community and work with me more one-on-one in a group. It's an amazing program that's going to help you build your marketing assets one by one. You can learn more about that at mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS. Thank you for joining me today, everyone. Have an amazing week. And remember, I believe in you. Bye-bye.